It is. It's really great to have you with us today.
Yeah, excited to be here and get into it.
We have a pretty fascinating stack of sources to get through today. We're taking a look at a snapshot of the tech world as reported by TechWorld Bangladesh.
Specifically from February 22, 2026.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I have to say, when I first read through these headlines, I honestly thought we were just looking at a totally random grab bag.
Yeah, it looks like that at first glance.
You know, a phone launch here, a hygiene tip there.
Yeah.
Just the usual daily feed. But you've pulled something entirely different out of this stack, haven't you?
I did, yeah. Because, usually when we consume tech news, it's very fragmented.
Right.
We see a headline about a gadget, then maybe we scroll past something about an app update. But when you lay these specific articles from TechWorld Bangladesh out side by side,
A completely different picture emerges.
exactly, a real narrative starts to form. It becomes less about the news itself and more about the digital life cycle of the modern user.
A digital life cycle. I like that. Walk me through that. How does that work?
Think about it. We're effectively tracing the journey of a human being interacting with technology in 2026.
Okay.
It starts with the acquisition, right? Buying
Okay.
the hardware.
Physical device.
Right, and then it moves to the physical reality of living with that device. The actual biology of it, believe it or not.
Biology of a smartphone, right?
Yeah, and then we transition into the workspace software we rely on. And finally, we end up in the attention economy, looking at the social platforms that are constantly fighting for our eyeballs.
It really is the full hierarchy of digital existence when you put it like that.
It's the whole journey.
That's a really cool framework for you listening at home to keep in mind. So let's just start at the base of that pyramid, the hardware.
Let's do it.
We have a report here on the official launch of the Infinix Smart 20 in Bangladesh. Now, usually when we do these dives, we're dissecting the latest silicon in some $1,000 flagship phone.
Which is fun, but yeah.
Right, but this isn't that. The source is very clear here. This is categorized as an entry-level smartphone.
Yes, it is.
So why are we talking about it? Why does a budget phone launch warrant a deep dive?
Because the entry-level market is often a much better indicator of where technology is actually going than the flagship market.
How so?
Well, flagships show us what's possible if you have unlimited money.
Yeah, the bells and whistles.
Exactly. But entry-level phones show us what has become standard for the messy real world. And the Infinix Smart 20 is significant because of one very specific feature highlighted in the report.
The voice print noise reduction.
Yes. Voice print noise reduction.
Okay, let's unpack that for a second because, look, we all know what noise reduction is. We have it in our headphones. We use it on video calls every day.
Sure.
But the term voice print implies something a bit more, I don't know, specific. Is this just marketing jargon or is there a real technical shift happening here?
No, it's a significant technical shift, especially for this price point. If you look back 5 or 6 years, noise reduction on budget phones was basically just a blunt instrument.
It's just chopping off the loud sounds.
Yeah, it was simple gating. If a sound was below a certain volume, the phone just cut the audio completely.
Right, and it sounded terrible, choppy, robotic.
If you were on a bus, you sounded like you were underwater.
I remember those calls. You'd lose half the sentence just because a car drove by.
Exactly. But voice print technology implies the use of a digital signal processor, a DSP, that's running an algorithm to actually identify the spectral characteristics of the human voice.
So it knows what a voice sounds like versus a siren.
Precisely. It's not just quieting the background, it is actively hunting for the vocal frequencies.
So it's creating a sort of digital fingerprint of the speaker's voice and suppressing everything that doesn't match that print.
That's exactly it. And to see that level of processing power, that kind of AI-driven audio capability in a device explicitly labeled entry level, that tells us that the cost of these algorithms has absolutely plummeted.
It's the democratization of clarity,
That's a great way to put it.
which is crucial when you consider the use case the source material is hinting at here. I mean, this is launching in Bangladesh.
Right.
If you are a user in a dense urban center like Dhaka, or you're a field worker, or you're commuting on public transit, silence is a luxury you just do not have.
And that is the absolute key insight here.
Yeah.
For a flagship user sitting in a quiet, soundproofed home office, noise reduction is a nice to have.
Sure, it makes the Zoom call sound a bit nicer.
Exactly. But for a student trying to attend a class remotely from a crowded room, or a gig worker coordinating a delivery on a really noisy street, background noise is a massive barrier.
It literally cuts them off from the digital economy.
It does. by bringing voice print tech to the Smart 20, Infinix is essentially removing that barrier.
It completely levels the playing field. You don't need to spend a month's salary just to be heard clearly on a conference call anymore.
Exactly. It turns clear communication from a premium feature into a basic utility.
Which is huge.
It is huge. So, and here's where we pivot in our life cycle. Once you buy this device, whether it's the Smart 20 or a high-end unit, you bring it into your physical world.
Right.
And that physical world is, well, it's dirty.
Yeah, it really is. Which brings us to the second piece of our stack today. And I have to say, this one hit a little close to home for me.
I think it hits close to home for everyone.
The article is titled, Effective Ways to Keep the Smartphone Germ and Smudge Free. Now, I'll be honest, I usually scroll right past these cleaning tips articles,
Most people do.
but this one had a specific detail that stopped me cold.
I have a feeling I know exactly which detail you mean.
It lists the locations where we use our phones. You know, the office, the commute, outside, and then it lands on the eating table.
The eating table.
Yeah,
That phrase really drives the point home, doesn't it?
it really does.
It's the collision of our biological necessity, eating, and our digital addiction.
It's a habit we all have. You sit down for lunch, you pull out the phone. But the report frames this not just as a bad habit, but as a significant hygiene risk.
Well, because it is. We aren't just transferring data, we are transferring pathogens.
That is the ultimate yuck factor.
Think about it from a microbiological perspective. A smartphone is essentially a petri dish that we keep warm with our batteries and our body heat.
Oh wow, I didn't even think about the heat aspect.
Yeah, they get warm. And the source highlights that because the phone is our daily companion, it totally bypasses our usual hygiene filters.
What do you mean by bypassing filters?
Well, we're socially conditioned to wash our hands, right?
Sure.
You come home from the subway, you wash your hands. Before you eat, you wash your hands. But that filter breaks down because we touch the phone immediately after washing our hands.
Right. You wash your hands, you sit down, you pick up the dirty phone to check a text, and then you pick up your sandwich.
Exactly. You've recontaminated yourself instantly. The phone acts as a fomite.
A faux.
Yeah, that's the medical term for an inanimate object capable of carrying infectious organisms.
Interesting.
And the article points out that smudges and dirt aren't just aesthetic issues. They actually form a matrix for germs to survive longer on the surface.
So when the source discusses effective ways to clean it, they aren't just talking about making the screen look pretty for an Instagram photo.
Not at all. This is actually a health intervention.
Wow.
It is, and it signals a real shift in how we need to view the device. It's not just a portal to the internet anymore. It is a physical surface in our environment.
That we interact with constantly.
Constantly. We've spent 20 years learning to protect the phone, right? Putting it in expensive cases, putting on tempered glass screen protectors.
Yeah.
Now, this source is suggesting we actually need to protect ourselves from the phone.
That is a very sobering thought to carry into lunch today for everyone listening.
Definitely wash your hands. And your phone.
Right. But okay, let's assume we've sanitized the device, we've wiped it down, it's clean.
We're safe.
We unlock it,
Ah.
we go to work. Which brings us to the software layer of our life cycle, and specifically, a report about Google Docs.
Now, this is a fascinating piece of journalism because it actually starts with a history lesson. It takes us all the way back to 2012.
2012. The source calls it a revolutionary moment for tech enthusiasts.
It really was.
I remember that era vividly. It was basically the death of the email attachment.
It was the death of, final version 2, ...
Version 2 real final ...
Exactly. We all had those folders. And the source correctly identifies what the revolution was. It was working together in real time.
Right.
Before 2012, collaboration was entirely asynchronous. I do my part, I send it to you, I wait for you to do your part.
It was incredibly slow.
But Google Docs introduced the synchronous model. You could literally see the blue cursor moving on your screen as someone else typed. It felt like magic at the time.
It really did. It felt like the future had finally arrived. But the tone of this report from February 2026 is quite different.
Very different.
It contrasts that open magical era with a very new reality. The headline news is that a new feature for Google Docs is being limited only to premium.
And this is the pivot point. This is where the industry shifts.
How so?
Well, for over a decade, the dominant business model for these productivity tools was growth. Just unbridled growth. Get everyone on the platform.
Make it free.
Make the free version so good that using anything else feels like a punishment. That's exactly how they captured the entire market.
And now that they have captured the market.
Now we enter the extraction phase.
The extraction phase.
Yes, the source is highlighting a deliberate restriction. The cool new features, the things that utilize advanced AI or heavy processing power, those are going behind a paywall.
It's interesting that the source explicitly links these two timelines. The revolution of 2012 was all about access, giving everyone the tool.
Right.
But the news of 2026 is entirely about restriction.
Because it forces the user to make a calculation.
Yeah.
In 2012, the value proposition was simple. It's better than Word, and it's free.
Hard to argue with that.
But in 2026, the proposition changes to, well, it's still free, but if you want the good stuff, the stuff that actually saves you time and makes you competitive, you have to subscribe.
It turns productivity into a utility, though.
That's a great way to think about it. Like electricity or water,
Yeah.
you pay a monthly fee just to keep the digital lights on.
Exactly. And this premium gatekeeping, it creates a sort of two-tiered workforce, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. You have the people with the premium tools who can work faster and smarter because they have the AI features seamlessly integrated.
Right.
And then you have the people in the free tier who are functionally capped. They hit a ceiling on how efficient they can be.
So the democratization we saw in the hardware segment with Infinix earlier,
Yes.
where physical tools are getting cheaper and more accessible, that's being directly countered by a stratification in the software segment with companies like Google.
That is a brilliant observation. The hardware is getting cheaper and more capable for everyone, while the software that actually drives economic value is getting more expensive and exclusive.
It's a real push and pull dynamic.
It is.
Which leads us nicely to our final segment. If software is where we work, social media is where we live.
Sad but true.
And we have a report here on Meta, specifically regarding Threads and Instagram.
This one is all about the battle for attention. The report details a new strategy from Meta to boost the user base for Threads.
Right. They're allowing users to share posts directly from Threads to Instagram stories.
Yes.
Now, on the surface, to a casual user, that sounds incredibly minor. A share button. Why does this warrant a deep dive?
Because of the exact phrase the source uses. Without leaving the app.
Without leaving the app. That's the golden rule of app design, isn't it?
It is the holy grail. In interface design and behavioral psychology, we call this reducing friction.
Reducing friction, okay.
Every single time a user has to close an app, switch tasks, or navigate a clunky menu, there is a chance they will get distracted.
Or bored.
Or they'll get a text message, or they'll simply put the phone down. That delay, that tiny little gap in the experience is called friction. Meta's goal is zero friction.
So this isn't really a feature built for the user's convenience, is it?
Well, it is convenient, yes, but that's just the bait.
Right.
The goal, as the source explicitly puts it, is to pull or attract users. Threads is still trying to cement itself in our daily habits. Instagram is already cemented.
Deeply cemented.
Right. So by building this direct, frictionless bridge, Meta is trying to siphon the massive established user base of Instagram and essentially pour it into Threads.
It's an ecosystem play. They're tightening the net.
Think of it like a walled garden. If you can share content, message your friends, and consume media without ever once leaving the Meta ecosystem, they own 100% of your attention span.
Wow.
The source frames this as a strategy to increase the user base, but functionally, it's really a strategy to increase time on platform.
It contrasts so sharply with the Google Docs story we just discussed. Yeah, Google is building walls to keep people out unless they pay cash.
Right.
But Meta is building bridges to keep people in so they can be monetized via ads.
It's two completely different ways to pay. With Google, you pay with your wallet to get through the gate.
Right.
With Meta, the gate is wide open, but once you're inside, you pay with your data and your attention.
It is a lot to process when you look at it all together.
Yeah.
We have covered a lot of ground in just a few minutes today.
We really have.
Let's try to synthesize this for everyone listening.
Sure. We started with the physical device. The Infinix Smart 20 shows us that advanced tech like voice print noise reduction is trickling down to the entry level.
Democratizing clarity.
Exactly. The tools for clear communication are becoming accessible to everyone, from the boardroom to the busy streets of Bangladesh.
But that device brings its own baggage. We discussed the hygiene reality, the whole eating table problem.
Right, the fomites.
Yeah, the phone is a biological vector, and we need to treat it with the same sanitation standards we apply to our own hands.
And then we moved to the software layer. We saw the evolution of Google Docs from the open, magical revolution of 2012 to the premium gated model of 2026.
The free ride is basically over. The future of productivity is looking more and more like a subscription service.
And finally, we looked at the ecosystem trap. Meta integrating Threads and Instagram to ensure that we never encounter enough friction to actually make us put the phone down.
It paints a really complex picture of the digital life cycle. The hardware is becoming more empowering and accessible, but the software structures are becoming more manipulative and more expensive.
It's a very strange dichotomy.
So if you had to leave the listener with one final thought to chew on today, something that goes beyond just clean your phone or check your subscriptions, what would it be?
I've been really thinking about this tension we uncovered between Google and Meta.
Okay.
On one hand, you have the premium model, right? Google asking for money. On the other, you have the attention model, Meta asking for your time. As we move through 2026, the internet is rapidly splitting into these two distinct zones. The zone you pay for with currency and the zone you pay for with your mind.
That really is the choice, isn't it?
It is. And my question to you listening is this. When you look at your own digital life, which currency are you spending more of? Are you bleeding out money in subscriptions to avoid the noise? Or are you paying with your focus to stay in the free loops? Because the tech giants have figured out how to harvest both.
Yeah, absolutely have.
But we usually only notice when the money leaves our bank account. We rarely notice when the focus leaves our brain.
That is a very provocative thought. Are we the customer or are we the product? I think the answer is getting blurrier every single day.
Indeed it is.
Well, that is all the time we have for this deep dive. Thank you for exploring these insights from TechWorld Bangladesh with us.
Stay curious and please wash your phone.
We will see you next time.